Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hey guys, the last episode of the Nina Kauser show of this season. My word, so much to play for, so much drama. Close again, Man City being Man City, and Liverpool and Wolves final game of the season, one of those. The Reds won 3-1 against Wolves, but I don't even know what to say. Joining me on this podcast, I'm still a happy person because what a season we've had. But joining me on this podcast, I think it's going to be quite a short one. I'm delighted to have two awesome guests. First up, I'm delighted to be joined by Mando. Mando, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Probably 10 years older than I was this morning when the game started, but I feel good. We won the game. We took care of what we had to take care of, nervy and everything. But what a performance by the Reds all year. 2 losses, unlucky in the end.
Yes,
it is what it is. I can't ask for more from this group.
I know, and we had that when Villa were 2-0 up, man. I was like, oh, come on. Oh, my God. Yeah, literally. Yeah, we were a little bit everywhere. And joining Mando on this podcast, it's a real familiar voice on the Nina Kauser show. And you know what? Last season, I did a lot of podcasting with him, and it was a disappointing season, and it was. And we cannot say the same this season. And you know what? It's an honour to have him back on. It's Dave Horrocks. Dave, welcome back.
Hey, Nina, and hey, Mando. Thanks for having us on. Yeah, it is a bit disappointing, but you know what? I'm still positive. We've just seen an unbelievable season. So I've just got nothing but admiration for the guys.
Yeah.
Just fell just a little bit short again, but I'm trying to tell myself, no, it's been a great season, so we shouldn't be too down about it.
All I'm going to say on this before I get to my first call, I remember, when Liverpool won the league and they were walking it and we were at an easy breeze level and there were some stupid Liverpool fans. I shouldn't call them stupid, but I am. Oh, like a title challenge. Do ya? I tell you what, I was living my best life that season. It was done. I don't like this last day tension unless you win it. Anyway, rant over. I don't like. Actually, just out of curiosity, do you like a title running or do you like to just walk it? I'm going to ask my panel real quick. Mando, you?
I mean, if the Reds are walking it, then I'm happy with that. And if the Reds win at the last, if they would have won today, I would have loved it too. It was really exciting, man. I can't tell you anything else. I mean, a lot of leagues across the world we could be PSG and walk in the league every year or those types of things. But the Premier League and their ratings owe a lot to Liverpool being able to do what they do and make this a race to the last day. I can assure you that Pep was not very confident going into today, and it showed with the way they started, and it is what it is. But that type of pressure, that's all you can ask for from the guys, is to give that performance to the end. They were knackered, they were leggy. We had to rotate some players, but we still took care of business, and that's what Jurgen does. They dig down deep, and the team takes care of business. I couldn't be prouder. It doesn't matter how it works out, but walking the league is always best, I think. If it's on our side, of course.
Of course, yeah. I don't like to stress and I don't like to age. I mean, I think Adam Petriccioni says it's the 8th best Premier League points total ever. If that's correct, amazing. That's what Adam put there. Yeah. What was I going to say? And Dave, I'll come to you. What's your preference? Walk the league or stress over the league on the last day?
So if you offered me the red pill or the blue pill, I would choose walk in the league every day of the week. However, it is so great when it does go your way. It's one of the reasons 2005 will be the best
it hasn't yet
ever. So
yeah.
Would I have preferred to be 5-0 up at half time before the match? Absolutely. But the way it played out, you just don't feel those highs unless you've been in that losing position and then you just snatch it at the death with some drama. So, yeah, it doesn't do well for, a few grey hairs and the heart pressure and whatever. But yeah, I would choose. My head would absolutely choose walking it, but my heart, it does love
Loves a
it
bit of
going
drama.
down to the wire, but it going our way.
Okay, right. Okay, right. I don't know. Till we don't win it on the last day, I don't enjoy this at all. Right. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of that. Right, we've got our first caller up. It is Kieran. Kieran, welcome back.
Thank you.
You know what to do. You know the drill on the Nina Kauser show. So take it away.
Yeah, it was a very strange game of football today, especially what was on the line. I thought it was a very I didn't think it was a good performance, but look, I think at the end of the day, it was the result that mattered. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough because you have to give credit to City. They come back from 2-0 down and score 3 goals in 5 minutes is quite impressive in fairness, and you have to take your hats off to them. But look, I'm proud of what we've achieved this season. I think it's been a hell of an effort. But unfortunately, it just wasn't to be today in terms of the league.
Yeah, no, I think that those are fair points and assessments, Kieran. Thank you so much for calling in.
My pleasure.
No, absolutely right. You know what, guys? I think this podcast is going to be a little bit everywhere, and I'm just kind of going through some of the chat stuff as well. And I think one of my biggest concerns today, both of you, I want to get your thoughts on this, is I think Kieran touched on it. It wasn't the best performance, but like City, we're up against a sports wash team. We know that. I think for me, one of the biggest concerns today is I hope Thiago's okay for the final, because Rami Akhtar just put shame we couldn't win the title, but also losing Thiago for the final. That's a double blow. And to me, I was very concerned about that. That's a bigger concern to me. So you guys give me some thoughts on that, because I do feel like in the second half when he came off, because obviously he was a sub and we had to sub him off and Milner came on, I thought we looked significantly horrible in the midfield when he came off.
Yeah, Nate, I think, I think pressure is also a big thing that we need to take into consideration here. The pressure was on for us. We were a little disjointed, and the performance was not a good performance, but also City didn't have a good performance either, and that's what pressure does. Your concern is a valid concern. I mean, he's the maestro of that midfield.
Yes.
And the concern of having him against Madrid, not having him against Madrid is a very valid and serious one. I know that Fabinho will be back, but ideally you'd want Fabinho, Naby, and or at least I would want Fabinho, Naby, and Thiago out there against Madrid. Let's hope that it's a quick recovery. Let's hope that it's nothing too serious and it's all precautionary, like we did with Virgil and we've done with Mo in the last match. So it's just one of those things, right? Injuries are part of the game. The guys are knackered. They've really ran themselves into the ground. Most games, they played every possible game. They're going to play every possible game that they can. 2 trophies in the bag. We keep going. We got another game to play. It's all we can do is cross our fingers, hope that the medical staff can get him up and running, and he's good enough to go. But yeah, he did look really disappointed on the bench, and that's always concerning, especially with a player of his caliber.
Absolutely, and then what kind of gives me a little bit of hope and confidence is the fact that I don't know if Jurgen's kind of spoke to them, but it's almost like if they feel something, they've been advised to kind of go down and not kind of play through and make their injury worse. So I don't know. We're going to have to just watch this space, but he's somebody that we definitely need for the final. Would you agree, Dave? He's huge,
Absolutely. I think, especially against Madrid, with a league game, you can get away with that running around, but that bit of class that Thiago gives you, I just think we'll miss him. I don't think, it's not like a massive drop off, when we played Madrid and Salah goes off and you're thinking, right, there's no one else on the pitch. So we could still do it without Thiago, I feel, but yeah, it would be a massive miss, and especially after the season he's had. For me, it would just be fitting for him to just give that masterclass in midfield, and I think it's a loss for the final as well. If not just us Liverpool fans, if he's not there.
I agree. I think he's absolutely huge, and he definitely starts for Real Madrid against me, because again, we definitely need like a maestro in that midfield, certainly against that Real Madrid. Because I think one thing we've noticed about Real Madrid is when they play, they always kind of have like the players like Modric and Kroos starting, don't they? Let them kind of, work their way, and then they bring on the younger players, like Camavinga and the younger players to kind of run ragged. So I don't know. We need Thiago. Thiago is world class, and I definitely need some control. We need some control in that midfield. Right, guys, let's kind of, as you can tell, I'm a bit everywhere on this podcast. Team lineup. Dave, I'll come to you. Pretty much what you expected?
Yeah, I don't think there was any real kind of shocks there. We know about the injuries going in. I was just surprised Mo could even make the bench, to be honest. Glad he did. But I think that was the only real surprise. Also, Divock, I just wanted Origi to, You know what, Nina? All week I've been telling myself, my logical part of my brain has been saying, there's no chance. There's no way City are going to drop points here. So don't even entertain the idea. And then I've just got this little emotional part of my brain saying, yeah, but it can happen, can't it? It can happen. And, I've been having this argument with myself. And, I'm kind of in a weak moment, I'll romanticize about, it being 1-1 in the 90th minute, and then Origi scores the winner, and Coutinho scores at Villa, and that did happen, obviously, but, scoring the winner for Villa rather than just a consolation. So, yeah, I think team lineup, as expected, and I was fairly confident, but I was a bit nervous because no one was talking about Wolves, and I know they've been on a bad run, but they often seem to give us a bit of a hard time, and some of the other top teams a hard time as well. So I didn't think quite as hard a time as they did give us in the first half, but I felt like we could do this. We didn't need any of the fringe players to come in to give us extra legs. Most of this team had a rest in the last game, so. Yeah, as expected, I think.
As expected. And what about you, Mando? What did you make of the team lineup? It was pretty much what I expected in terms of some of the injuries, some of the players, what you have to kind of field, and of course, big game on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of what we expected, right? Bobby's not been getting a run in the team as a starter recently. He's just come back from injury, too, not too long ago. So, I mean, I think I would have wanted to see Bobby start the match in the middle, maybe Diaz and Sadio on the wings. Not that Diogo doesn't give us a ton. He's a talented player and everything, but I think Bobby really just connects the dots up front, and he really puts the pressure on the team. And in the game where we just needed to be really tenacious, I think that would have benefited us. But aside from that, I think the team is what we expected, especially knowing Virgil was injured, and we saw how that cost us early on. Konate is a wonderful, wonderful player, but that was a really simple goal to give away early
Yes.
in that, that set us off on the wrong foot, and the pressure was on from there on out. And I think honestly, if we wouldn't have had that pressure, and we were able to get the first goal and the second goal, and City were down 2-0, and their stadium would have known what that scoreline was, just like we were very aware of what their scoreline was throughout the match. Pressure is a very big variable here, and that could have changed the swing of things. But ultimately, like Dave said, we got to give credit to City. City is a wonderful team, a well-drilled team. But City's also done, and they're going home, and we still have the biggest match in Europe to play for, the biggest prize of all. So, it can't be too disappointed with the results. It's hard to be disappointed with a team then that lost 2 matches in a year.
I know. And there were 14 points behind in January. Like, if you just think about that for a moment, like, I was talking about running away with the league. Man City were running away with the league.
Yeah, I think if you would have told anybody on this call, or anybody in these chat rooms, or anybody on Twitter that's a Red in January, that we would take it to the last day and we would have a fighting chance, and all the things that have gone between then and now, I think you would have definitely taken that, and I would have called you a liar back then. But from doubters to believers, I mean, Jurgen and his Reds should never be doubted. We're never out of a fight. We're always in there. We're scrappy. We're tenacious. We have a mentality that was missing from us for a long, long time, and Jurgen really instilled that. And I think this team is just something really special. And it's Jurgen signing that deal and extending his stay just gives me hope and faith that we're going to be at the pinnacle again. We'll get another one in the next year or two. This team, this group stays together and we work hard. We have some contracts to sort, and that's part of it all. But our recruitment for new players we don't miss. That's one thing. I know that everybody wants a big signing and everybody wants all the things that go along with it and all the money that goes along with it and price tags. But it doesn't matter as long as it's the right player for this system. I have faith that this team, this organization, will figure it out, and we'll just reload and we'll come back stronger. They haven't given me a reason to believe otherwise.
I love it. There's just so much positivity. I could not agree more. There's just so much to look forward to, and things certainly looking in the right direction. And I think, personally, I don't think Pep Guardiola will stay long at City. That's just my thoughts. I think he's got his eye on the Champions League, and that's the one that he wants to win, and it's the one that kind of eludes him a little. So long may that continue, but I don't think he'll be there long now. And I guess what we kind of have to talk about now is, did you guys... Somebody keeps putting on their camera. Can you turn that off? Because it's really distracting. Sorry, I don't know who that was. And I'm just going to have verbal diarrhea, and I'm going to speak as I find. I don't know who that was, but you've been told. Right, let's carry on. Dave, obviously, we're talking about this game, and it's more emotional than it is tactical. But within 3 minutes, we concede the most, the easiest goal. And obviously, Konate was at fault there. But you're thinking, oh my God, that wasn't meant to happen. But, it did. And I want to get your thoughts on just that whole, what Mando said there about, you're playing your game, but you have to kind of drop the sucker punches on the opposition who's playing in the other game. So obviously we were getting a lot of reaction to what Aston Villa were doing. Imagine if we were like Mando said, 2-3-0 up, how would the fans react to that? And how would that kind of, circulate to the players? These are big things, aren't they? We actually don't really pay much attention to them, but that is huge.
Yeah, but I have to say, I was a bit disappointed. It was a really soft goal to concede. And I was watching it on the American channel, so I had Andy Townsend, and it was Konate at fault, to be honest. But, they're very quick to blame Alexander-Arnold, and it's like, are you watching the same thing that I'm watching? It was very strange. But if you're going to concede a goal, concede it in the first few minutes. I wasn't particularly worried at that point, because if City won it, I thought that's because they're going to smash Villa 5-0. And how many times have we seen it? We're waiting for one team to do us a favour, and then within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, they're already 1-0 up. And then very soon after, they're 2-0 up. And it's just if we won it, though, it would be because we kept, grinding it out. We kept at it, through the league, through the Champions League, through the FA Cup, through the League Cup. We are the team more than anyone who can grind out those results. So I wasn't really that worried. And, it was a really soft goal. I thought... the guy who laid it up, I thought he did well. But I at that point, I was just not worried. By half-time, I was a little bit. But, I felt like we could always win this game. And it was just, I didn't have confidence that Villa would be able to do us a bit of a favour.
Oh, you know what? I feel like the hope just kind of got me. But anyway, Mando, I'm going to come to you now, and your thoughts on Neto's goal, because they took it they were quick and devastating. I think it was Jimenez who kind of squared it to him, right? And just made a bit of a mug out of Konate there. But I agree with Dave. If you're going to concede early. But I was like, that wasn't scripted. When you're watching things.
I think my reaction was very much like Jurgen's reaction, right? I just had a smirk and I shook my head and said, that's not how you want to start these games. Jimenez had a simple task. He just ran the ball down, centered a nice, simple ball. Neto did what you would expect him to do. Yeah, it was just unfortunate. It was unfortunate. We hadn't had a chance to get into a rhythm. Obviously, the game had just started. But yeah, it was just a misjudgment by Konate, and that's not something you expect from him. You know, he's really good in the air. We've seen that. He's been really good in the Champions League. But when, I don't think him and Matip is having a ton of time together. So that also communication. He was playing on the different side today, Konate. That also was probably a challenge and something different for him. But it's happens. It's part of the game. It was a weak goal to concede, but I mean, I'd rather have it in the 3rd minute than in the 80th minute. So that's one of those things where I felt like it was something we could overcome. To Dave's point, when we got to halftime, I was a little bit more concerned, especially knowing the scoreline at the other game. It was something we really, really needed, and pressure again is something that although this team can handle it, and they've proven it time and again, it's just one of those things that do weigh on you, and the Premier League is one of those titles that we haven't gotten a taste of it too much in our lifetimes. Well, at least a lot of the younger fans, and it's the one that we always really, really want. We wanted number 20, but 2 trophies in the bag already, 1 more to play for. It's kind of hard to even be upset. And to your point, Nin, it's the hope. It's the hope that gets you. It's the hope that kills. But it's also the hope that gives you life, and that's what makes it all worth watching, and why we wake up, or why I wake up at 4 a.m. to put myself through this on a regular basis, is because, these Reds are incredible. It gives me a lot of joy. And I can't, nothing, I can't be disappointed in these men. I can't.
Absolutely.
And regardless of how it happened today, the weak goal, regardless of City scoring fucking 3 goals in 10 minutes, it's just one of those things, and it's something you can't control, and it's just something that you just enjoy the ride. And Jurgen's right when he says the journey is part of it all, and that's the most enjoyable part. You want to be at the pinnacle at all times, but it's hard to argue that these Reds aren't still, to this, even being second in their own league, these Reds are probably still considered by most football fans and people that watch other leagues and people that follow teams in other leagues as the best team in the world. And they absolutely are. And I couldn't be prouder to be a supporter of the best team in the world.
Yeah. You know what? I was obviously watching the game and my mum was watching it. And she's like, oh, you finished second. What was the point? Like, she's so bitter. I love her, but she's so like, I don't know, she's got a bit of needle in her. And I was like, dude, you spot Man United. You're losing to Crystal Palace. Are you even...
the conference.
Yeah, like, should you even be voicing an opinion on anything? Like, 2 trophies in the bag. We've got a European final. She's cute, but like, I don't know, like, she's like, oh, but I think she didn't mean it in that sense, but like, I could sense the needle in it, and it kind of made me laugh a little. But she's like, oh, you finished second. But the funny thing is, she really hates Man City, by the way. She thinks they're a real horrible plastic club that has no soul. So make of that what you will. So, Dave, I'm going to come to you because one thing I did notice, though, was obviously after the goal, you looking for a reaction. And one player to me that looked really, really bright was Diaz. I can't wait to see a full season of this guy. I think he's incredible. I love the energy. I love his dribbles. I love his smartness. I love the fact that he wants to cross the ball. I want to see more of his finishing, though. To me, everything is perfect. Everything is perfect. I just want to see him on the end of more goals. But I don't think he does tap-ins. So there you go.
He does that cut inside, doesn't he? And you're just waiting for him to get a shot away and see the net burst. We've seen him for Colombia, we've seen him for Porto do it many times, and he's just not really done it as much for us. I don't know, I've heard lots of people say about, wait till he gets full pre-season behind him and wait till we see how he is then, but I'm scratching my head and I'm thinking, I don't know where this guy's ceiling is, because I can't imagine he's going to be that much better than he is now. Because if he is, Jesus Christ, we have got a real player. But he almost strikes me as one of those players that's almost uncoachable. He does so many things just on instinct. He's almost like one of those skills footballers, street footballers who just play around with the ball and stuff.
Does he give you Luis Suarez vibes? He gives me them vibes. I'm not saying he's the same player, but it's just having that kind of player that is just so exciting to watch.
Yeah, it's a good comparison. And there's lots of differences between those two, but there's similarities as well where they have the ball and they just do things that you just don't expect. If you see, I'll pick on him a little bit, but Milner, does all the things you expect him to do, whereas Diaz does everything that's different. And so, yeah, I actually thought he looked a little bit leggy compared to how we've seen him in the previous few months.
Second half, to me, he fizzled out. Second half, they all fizzled out for me.
Yeah, so I think he's had better games, but he just always looks like a bit of a wild card and like he can create something. I actually thought Robertson, I'm a massive fan of Andy Robertson. I think he's the best left back I've ever seen for us. But I didn't think he had his best game, even though he actually popped one in for a change. He had a chance in the first half, didn't he? And I thought he shinned it right over, and I thought, yeah, that's consistent with form. If you actually think about it, then it's going over the bar. But no, I thought Diaz was good. I thought Thiago, when he got on the ball again, he looked like he could create something before he came off. But
did he put that gorgeous pass in for Mane?
I can't remember. Also, like yourself, Nina, I was just like,
I didn't make notes. I'm sure he put a gorgeous ball. Was it a little like backflick from Thiago that when Mane scored his goal? Am I hallucinating?
It was.
Thank you. I did not make notes, and I just have to. I don't have the best memory, so that's why I take notes, people. But there you go.
But yeah, I think if anything, if in the first half, I thought if anyone was going to create something, it would be Thiago or Diaz.
Yeah, I'd second that. The brightest. Mando, I'm going to come to you. Just quickly, your thoughts on Diaz's ceiling. I mean, is there any more insight you'd like to add into this guy? Because I think he just adds another set of problems for defenders. He adds something else to our attack. And I can't wait to see a full season of him next season.
Luis Diaz is just a tenacious player, right? He's just relentless the way he plays. He's brave. He takes people on. He does things that that you do, outside playing street ball. He's just having fun. I think the ceiling is pretty high for Luis Diaz. I think we're only barely scratching the surface. I think a whole preseason, another year or two under Klopp. He can be on the level of Salah. He could be on the level of Sadio when we're talking about Ballon d'Or nominations. Luis Diaz is that type of player. He has that type of skill, and he has that type of mentality. Just the joy he has in playing this game, and the way he's fit in so seamlessly with the Reds is incredible. Usually we sign a player and it takes some time for them to bed in. And I know injuries kind of forced him in there a little bit earlier than we typically see players come in when we sign them. But he came in and he hit the ground running. He scored some vital goals for us. He's created some vital assists. He's always looking dangerous and looking to attack and on the front foot. Sometimes his final decision-making isn't the best, but he's still a young player and he's still getting used to the system, the team. And once he, refines his finishing and stuff like that, he's going to be in the Ballon d'Or conversation. And I'm just excited to be able to see him week in and week out for many years to come. And he's just one of those players that fits Jurgen's teams like a glove, and he suits Liverpool so well. And I'm just happy that he's on our team and we were able to get him at a bargain. And I still think he's going to have a major role to play next weekend because he is, the most aggressive, the most front foot. He's going to go at these fullbacks for Madrid, and I think there's going to be a goal or two that's going to come from Luis Diaz. But long term, I see him being just a very, very important figure for this team and this side going forward.
Absolutely. And you know what, guys, I'm glad you spoke about this because you have to look at the Champions League final. Who would be your preferred starting three? Because one thing I'm kind of noticing is, we saw Jota in the final against Chelsea, and he was doing everything right, but just couldn't get in on the scoring action. And I feel like we're doing everything, but we're just not finishing our chances. And to me, that felt very true of today as well. Certainly in the second half, like the final ball wasn't quite right. The quality wasn't quite there. and you're looking at a final and literally against this Real Madrid side as well, can I add, you need to take all your chances and then some, because they are relentless and they just don't back down. As Man City, you know, the game is not over till it is over. And even then Benzema might have something to say about it. But it's one of those opponents, and I'm just thinking now, who would be the most ideal front three to start this? I mean, does Diaz start and absolutely, annihilate them, or is he one of those players that you bring off the bench when their defense looks a little tired? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Who would be your preferred starting front? I'll come to Dave first on this one.
Oh, right. I think for me, Jota is probably the fifth out of the strikers that I would pick. What I was trying to think as you were talking then is, I know Bobby is, he's only come back recently. He's not looked particularly great since he's been back. If he's up to standard, if he's got the fitness, and the backroom staff reckon he's ready to go, I would play with Bobby. And I think I'd be tempted to go with the classic front three of us, so Mo, Mane, and Bobby. And I think Diaz would be that kind of option off the bench. I just feel that Madrid are going to have quite a lot of the ball at some point, and we're going to do a lot of chasing. And so I'd prefer to have Diaz as the option when there's a bit more space, perhaps in the second half, legs are a bit more tired. There's a bit more space in behind defenders. So I think, so I don't know what the odds are, but, I remember when they beat City, I think people were saying, oh, Liverpool wiped the floor with these. We know it's not going to be that straightforward. And I think, I'd probably go Mo, Mane, Bobby. And if a second option for that would probably, I probably would have Diaz in for Bobby and, put Mane up top and Diaz out on the left.
I mean, Bobby isn't a bad shot. It all depends what happens in the midfield as well, right? Because it depends what happens there. I don't know what's going to happen with Thiago. Hopefully he's fit. But Mando, what about you? Who's your starting 11? How would you approach this?
I think I would also, I think that's a good shout by Dave. I would also probably go with the classic three. Bobby gives a lot. He can press, and I don't know if he's going to give us 90, but I think Bobby a good 60 minutes, and then having Luis Diaz run at these tired legs after Madrid's a little leggy. Bobby's a little bit fresher than these guys. We saw it today. There's some fatigue in the team. We haven't had a rest. We've been playing so many matches, and Madrid's going to have a little bit of time off. So that is important. And I do think that Bobby, in these moments, a lot of times I think experience does matter. Bobby's been there. He's been on this stage. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to press. It's just, I don't know. I have a feeling that Bobby's going to play a very vital role here in the final. I would like to see him start and Diaz then attack some of these guys with tired legs. I think that can make a vast difference if the game is still within reach, if not give us the opportunity to put it well out of reach. That would be the way I would go about it. I also think Diogo on form is probably fifth choice for me up top. He hasn't had a goal in quite some time. He's looked a little bit lost up there. He's usually a really good poacher and finds himself in really good spots. I just really haven't seen that from him in the last month or so. And Bobby, I know, hasn't played a ton because he's coming back from injury, but I think it would be vital to have him start the match against Madrid and put the pressure on some of those center backs, as a defensive striker, if you will, and try to press and get the ball back and do all those things. That's what I would go with if I was Jurgen, but whatever he goes with, I trust it.
Absolutely. And I like the classic front three shout as well, guys. Let's hope we see that. You know what? I don't really want to talk an awful lot about this game or nitpick it or whatever, because I think it's been a truly, truly remarkable season. So I'm just going to come to my panel and I'm going to ask you, what's been your highlight of the season? Mando, any highlight from the season? It's been a lot.
Man. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to single anything out. I'd say my favorite goal is, I don't even remember who we were playing, but the 1-2 with with Matip, where he made that incredible run and then dinked it over the keeper, is probably my favorite goal of the season, just because we don't expect Big Joel to do that, and I think all of us all season long watching him make those runs into midfield and then into attack, really just wanted to see him get one. So that was probably my favorite goal of the season. But yeah, I don't know. Another one of my favorite moments actually was today. I saw that we gave Divi guard of honor, and that's something that he absolutely deserves. Divock Origi is a player that we're going to miss. Didn't get a lot of time on the pitch for us, but he gave us more big moments than I think I can count, and that's something that you can't really account for. Players like that keep their nerve, that go in there and know that their time is limited and still make a huge difference. The same with Takumi Minamino. What a player he's been for us. 10 goals in the amount of time that he's played. I think a lot of it has been the role players that we don't necessarily talk about on a week in, week out basis, and it just goes to show the strength of the squad, the faith that all of these players have in each other, and the belief that they have in themselves, that when they get the chance to play, they capitalize on it. You don't see that with every team. You don't see that in every squad. And it's a luxury we have, and it's something that a lot of these players, like those guys, shouldn't be taken for granted, and should also be celebrated in the way that Salah is and that Mane is, because they contributed just as much to this side and to this run and to this journey as anybody else. So I think for me is highlighting those players that don't always get the recognition.
No, they really don't. And I'm glad you mentioned Taki there. And he's definitely one of those players that I want to see stick around at Liverpool. And Divock Origi, I really do wish him all the best. I think you can honestly say, hand on heart, that he is a Liverpool legend for all the stuff that he's done and all the important goals. Dave, I'm going to come to you. Things that kind of stick with you this season.
So I'm going to cheat a little bit, I think, and I'm going to choose a month.
You choose a month. Yes.
April, when we were staring at that, it looked so formidable. And let's be fair, and again, I love this podcast. It's always therapy for me, because I already feel myself getting back to equilibrium. I've been a bit down right after the final whistle. We come straight on here, but we shouldn't lose perspective on what a great team this is. And in my memory, 2001, we were playing a crunch game on Saturday and a crunch game in midweek, and that was the treble season. And it was an amazing season. But when I actually look back at the figures, we were gone from the league. We snatched, fourth right at the end, but and that was great. But when I looked at the fixtures, it wasn't as formidable as how April looked. And we started off with Watford. We had Benfica a couple of times. We had City a couple of times. We had Man United. We had Everton. It just looked unbelievable. And we came away, out of all of those competitions with either a win or a draw. We didn't lose at all. And the only sour note a little bit is that, we didn't beat City, but they mauled us in that game, but we didn't lose. And so I felt that was enough. And, to actually destroy them. I know they came back and it was 3-2 in the FA Cup semi-final, but really that second goal of theirs was right at the end. It wasn't a reflection on the match. And so my choice would be April, and just how much I enjoyed that. But if I was to narrow it down, that first half against City in the FA Cup semi-final was some of the best football I think I've ever seen. And, given how City had played us off the park, really, at their place for the 2-2 draw, to come out with a performance like that was unbelievable. And again, I just think this for me is the best team I've ever seen. Best Liverpool team I've ever seen.
Yep.
And I've seen them through the 80s, early 90s, let's say, all the great teams. But this is the best. So the fact that we've not won the league shouldn't take away from that. They are brilliant. And that April, there's not many teams that will come out with a record like we did there. Unbelievable team.
think, when I kind of look back at this season as well, you kind of look back at, that month when we kind of got hit with some injuries in the midfield and we were drawing some stupid games. Like, this is when I wasn't covering the football for personal reasons. Guys stepped in and I had like kind of one eye on the results. I weren't watching the games, but I just remember seeing scores like where we were drawing to teams like Brighton and Brentford, and we were dropping points like that. And I feel like that's what kind of like, I don't know, for me, was the defining moments of the season. I'm not putting a negative spin on it, but it's just, like, and Kieran's just coming here and he said in the Discord chat, and he goes, look, for us to win the league next season, we need to win at least 30 of our 38 games, even, like, it might be enough. It's absolutely ridiculous, the consistency that we have right now. Yeah, talking about Man City and pushing us to our very, very limits. So, guys, I mean, this is it. Mando, Dave just said that this is like literally the greatest Liverpool team that he's ever seen play, and I think a lot of us would agree with that. And it's just a shame that they are up against this Man City side. So for us for next season, I mean, it looks like it's that old chestnut of Simon Brundish, isn't it? Beat the dross, win the league. Like, I've heard that said so many times, but it literally does come down to that. I mean, next season, how do Liverpool compete with this beast?
Liverpool just has to do what they do. They just have to keep doing what they're doing. I don't think we need to change much. A lot of winning the league is luck. A lucky bounce, a good call, a bad call, an injury here or there. I mean, look at how good we are as a team, right? And last year we barely scraped fourth because Alisson Becker is a god amongst men. If not, we wouldn't have. But, City loses De Bruyne, City loses a key player, and it changes the whole dynamic. So it's a lot of luck. I don't think that we need to change too much. I don't think that we need to go crazy in the transfer market. I don't think that we need to have this, pretend that we're, this gap between them and us is massive. It's not. It's inches. It's millimeters. This is one decision away, a handball by Rodrigo that could have gone our way, that could have won the league. It's a lot of things. I can sit here and tell you the tie against Brighton. I can sit here and tell you the result against Tottenham a few weeks ago, and all of this cost us what it cost us. It didn't cost us anything. It's part of it. To go perfect is not, unless you're Barcelona's unless you're Barcelona's female side, you're not going to win every match. You're not. This is just the reality. But to push a team that's built like Man City is to the brink, to put the pressure and the onus on them, is a lot. I'm confident that if we keep doing what we're doing and we keep plugging away and we could stay healthy, that Liverpool will lift this trophy again in the next year or two. And I say that with full confidence. I don't think that we need to change who we are or what we do or reinvent the wheel. This is literally a point that we lost by, and 92 points is 92 points. Adam mentioned earlier it's the eighth most points, and I'm sure that ever, and I'm sure that Man City probably has 5 to 6 of the other top points, right? So no one is going to be even close to City aside from us. No one's going to be close to us aside from City. I think us pushing each other is what it takes, and I think honestly, if City wasn't as competitive as they are, as good as they are, as clinical as they are in the league, our level would drop. So I think that they drive us as much as we drive them. And again, it's a luck thing. It's a game of inches. It's a game of millimeters. I don't think we need to change. That would be me admitting that we're not good enough and we're more than good enough.
I just think as well, if it wasn't for a team like Liverpool pushing this Man City side, they would be walking the league every single season. And, and I know a lot of people don't like Liverpool. I don't think any non-Liverpool fans obviously will not listen to this podcast, but you need Liverpool because otherwise you end up with like a farmers league. And it's true, that would happen. Because realistically, who can you see push? Who from all the other teams can you see take Man City to the last game of the season? There is no one. Nobody could do it. Man United finished second last season. How many points difference was there? It was significantly huge.
Well, I'm looking at Chelsea and they're like 19 points behind. It's ridiculous the levels of consistency these two teams have been at, and they've got Haaland coming in next year, and it's like, well, I don't know how you can change it that much. We lost 2 games this year. It's ridiculous.
No, 100%. So it is what it is, guys. I don't know. I think you've all hit the nail on the head there. I mean, for you, Dave, what do Liverpool need to do next season? They're already great. They're already brilliant. It's not a case of like spending loads of money in the transfer window. None of that. Also, it's also worth noting as well, Liverpool have played more games than Man City this season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're fighting on all fronts. And, City, okay, they've won the league. That's one. We could still come out of this season with 3 trophies. And I had one of my Man United friends send me Ferguson's the only manager to win the treble. And I'm like, well, if we win the Champions League, I think that's a better treble, to be fair. But even if we don't, it's been an amazing season. And the reason we love football and we watch it is for the entertainment. Okay, the one thing that comes out is, did you win, lose, or draw? But it's about being entertained as well. And so I just can't feel too gutted about where we are today. I think, I do think we'll win on Saturday. I think it will be close. I think it will go to the wire, absolutely extra time, and hopefully Benzema has a bit of an off day. But yeah, I just can't feel that bad. It's just an amazing team, I'm just so grateful for where we are now. And for next year, as to what do we do, I don't think we change anything. I just think we carry on doing what we're doing, and that doesn't just mean on the pitch. It means in the recruitment as well. There can't be many teams out there who have nailed that recruitment as well as we have.
Yeah.
Look at Everton. Look how much money they spent, and then they're doing a pitch invasion because they avoided relegation. They're the other end of the scale, where they've just recruited terribly. Whatever we're doing behind the scenes, and Klopp is our focal point, as the manager, but he has got a great team behind him because he can't do all of that on his own. So I just think we have to keep doing what we're doing. And eventually, I hold out hope that the whole sports washing thing gets completely called out and, there's a change within football, because at the moment it is in danger of becoming just a bit dull, isn't it? Especially if we have an off season, City will just have won it by March. And so I don't think anyone wants that. Not as an entertainment. I'd expect Newcastle probably in the next 3 years or so we'll be pushing it as well. But for us, I think we seem to be we seem to have a solid foundation. We've got a solid team already. We've got a solid playing squad. We've got solid backroom staff. All of those things are in place. I don't think we don't need to go out and break the bank. We just need to find the right players and the right characters to fit into that squad to make us a bit better.
Absolutely. Right, guys, I think we have come to the end of this podcast. Don't think there's much to say, but actually no. So we spoke about your favourite moment. Obviously, who's your player of the season? There. That's an interesting one. I want to get your thoughts on this one. And this time round, I am going to come to Dave first on this one. Who's been your player of the season?
Hands down, Mo Salah. It's a bit harsh to, discount all the other players as well. But, Mane has been brilliant the last few months. Really pulled it out of the bag. And it reminded me, but, when we were in that winning league season, it didn't seem to matter. Like, if someone, out of that front three, if someone was having an off day, someone else would pop up. And they just seemed to swap. Whereas at the beginning half of the season, definitely, it was Mo. Some of the goals he scored were just unbelievable.
Yes.
The assists, he tops. Well, obviously Son scored a couple of goals, to share the golden boot today. But okay, still joint top goal scorer, top of the assist league as well. And if you consider, before AFCON came up, we were all shitting it. We were all like, yeah, we're screwed. We're going to lose Mo. We're going to lose Mane. We're going to lose Keita. Keita will come back injured. Oh, God, the world's terrible. And he still made the final. I know he didn't win it, and Senegal won, but he still played all of those games. And since he's come back, he has looked a little bit leggy. Well, Christ, he's got a right to. He's played that many minutes. So I think what he's done is borderline superhuman. I think it's amazing. And the fact that, we all have that recency bias. And I think the fact that De Bruyne got Player of the Year is an absolute scandal, to be honest. If you play well in the second half of the season, it just gives you a immediate advantage.
People forget what you do the first half of the season, don't they? They really do. Yeah.
He didn't. I was reading before. He didn't create an assist until December. But no one gives a shit. So I think it's Mo. I just hope sign that damn contract for fuck's sake. And I hope he has a good rest now, because he deserves it more than anyone.
Yeah. Here. I love that. I love the fact that you kind of went back there and dug out the old Mo files. And I'm glad you mentioned AFCON as well. People forget that. And for him being tired as well, let's not forget all of Egypt's games went all the way to extra time and penalties. Yeah, he must have been tired. And Mando, what about you? Who's been your player of the season?
I think that's a great shout. Yeah, Bo. Sadio, I think, would be a great shout. A lot of people were doubting Sadio coming into this season and his shooting boots and how he's been doing for us. I think him moving and playing at the tip of the three up front really changed the trajectory of Sadio's season. He really found his footing. I know that everyone, when Jota came in and then when Diaz came in, everybody was talking about it could be Sadio's position, and he really came out and came out trumps, and now we're talking about Sadio in the Ballon d'Or, right? But I would give my player of the season would have to be Alisson Becker. I think a lot of times he's so good that the saves he makes, or him keeping us in games, or the passes, or I think today he threw a ball over the halfway line to Bobby when we were 4-on-2, and we should have done better there to probably get the second goal for ourselves, and we wasted it. But just his awareness, his positioning, his resolve, him saving the penalty in the FA Cup final. There's a lot of moments that you can look back and say, if it wasn't for Alisson Becker, or if it was a lesser goalkeeper, we wouldn't have been anywhere near this race, and we wouldn't have been anywhere near as good as we have been and consistent as we have been. And I think for me, it would probably be Alisson Becker. It's a shame that he didn't win goalkeeper of the season in the Premier League. It's a shame, a lot of things, right, that he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. But when you make everything look easy, when you're as good as you are and you make everything look easy, you're not going to get that recognition. So for me, I think it's a pretty safe choice to go with Alisson.
I love that. Alisson Becker. And we've got a shout for Mo Salah as well. And my little shout as well would probably be somebody like Virgil van Dijk as well, with the injury that he had. And to come back this season, and people thought he's not going to be the same player. And yeah, at the beginning, he did look a bit like he was sort of finding his form, finding his way. And he looks like the player that was before he got his injury, basically. So for me, I have to give it to Virgil van Dijk, because you would not think he's had like a bit of a career-threatening kind of injury.
We're all nitpicking here. It's a squad of legends.
It really is, isn't it?
If
somebody came on now and said Timmy Cass is my player of the season, I'd be like, zero complaints here.
Yeah, I'd be fine with it. So many moments that win at United. Yeah. All the trips to Wembley today, just so many moments and so many games and so many matches, and just the amount of smiles that we probably had on our faces this year is probably unlikely to get matched. And so to pick one is just kind of a disservice to everybody.
It is, but you know what? Anyone that's listening, give us your shouts. Who's your player of the season? What was your moment of the season as well? We'd love to hear that. We'd love to hear from you, guys. Steve W there. The only correct answer is Thiago. Again, zero complaints. Keep them coming. We have come to the end of this podcast. Before I go, I want to get some plugs from my guests. Hefty horse there. Simon thinks it's Alisson or Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'll come to you first, Dave. Where can people find you on social media?
So I tweet most at Seattle Dojos on Twitter. And if you want to hear me as well, you can get me on the VHS Strikes Back or Comics in Motion podcast as well. We've got a few things coming up. We've got Ms. Marvel, first Muslim-based Marvel character. So, I think it's going to be a really interesting season. And, of course, we've got Kenobi as well coming up quite soon. So we'll be covering that as well. I'm really excited about that.
Love it. Please, please, please do give Dave a follow and do check out his work. Please, he's an excellent follow. Right, some people are more... Kieran there says his game of the season was the Leicester League Cup game. Yeah, that was pretty decent. G's on toast. Lewis D has been incredible since he came to Liverpool. Hefty Horse. Think Trent's defensive work this season has really been overlooked. So, yeah, a lot of people are still commenting. But, guys, tweet us. Let us know your thoughts. And Mando, I'm going to come to you. Where can people find you on social media?
Y'all can find me at Armando Angulo 12. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to plug. Just continue to support Anfield Index, all the hard work Nin does, all the hard work Gag's done. The guys from Under Pressure. It's just a labor of love, and they make this experience and enhance this experience and this journey so much by the work that they put in, by as much as they contribute, to the fan base. It's just nice to be a part of such a wonderful family. So continue to support Anfield Index. Continue to remain positive, to be believers. We still have another big one at the weekend, and we're going to need to be, in full force and full flow and song. So, that's it. Just up the fucking Reds.
I love it. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening and supporting Anfield Index throughout this whole season. Thank you so much for everyone who's been contributing to the Nina Kauser show, guests, callers. Really, really appreciate it. A massive thank you to Guy Drinkle as well at the beginning of the season where I was not doing the shows. Massive shout out to Guy Drinkle as well, who stepped in for me. I really, really appreciate it. But guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for supporting us the entire season. Hopefully we come back bigger and stronger next season. For my part, I think I still have one more show left, which obviously will be the Euro Incision. Let's hope I'm talking about a win. That would be great. But guys, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for listening. Chins up. Take care. Till next time, up the Reds.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.